Alright, we are back with the live stream here as we are seeing a major tornado going on just south or just west of Port Arthur, Texas. Again, that is Port Arthur, Texas. This is a considerably dangerous tornado that is on the ground, and this is a particularly dangerous tornado warning that is in effect here just west of Port Arthur, Texas. If you are in that area, you need to be seeking shelter now. We have multiple other tornado warnings that are also being issued all across the area here. So bear with me as I try to share live. Bear with me, folks. Alright. So we're going to be staying live for the rest of the evening. Bear with me, folks. Alright, so a dangerous tornado is currently ongoing just south of southeast of Winnie, Texas. Again, that's Winnie, Texas. This is going to go just south of Taylor Landing. Thankfully, this is going across an area that is very rural, but this is a considerably dangerous tornado that is on the ground. Port Arthur, go ahead and get into your safe place now if you haven't already. This is a dangerous tornado. This is a very long track tornado because we've been tracking this since it was last around Pearl Land. Really, we tracked it as close as West Columbia earlier today, and that has since tracked into Texas City, League City area. Now tracking near Port Arthur, excuse me. A very violent rotation couplet here is still continuing just southwest of Taylor Landing, and I want to go quickly look at all of our other tornado warnings just to get caught up here at what we have. We do have reports of that tornado that we were talking about earlier being on the ground, and it did cause some damage. Unfortunately, I believe we did have a loss of life, unfortunately. So please do just stay weather aware today because we are not done. We got a long event ahead, and this is just the beginning. We got 5, at least 6 to 7 tornado warnings. 3 of them in Louisiana, 1 tornado warning in Texas, and 1 in Mississippi. Let's talk about our tornado warnings out in Louisiana. We got these 3 that have been issued for Winsboro and Columbia. They will be in effect for the next 15 to 45 minutes. The largest one here is in effect until, bear with me here, till 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. If you are out and about in that area, you need to be seeking shelter now. Another tornado warning out here near Brookhaven, Mississippi. Let's see if we can get a closer radar sight on this one. Has a decent tornado couplet on it here. This one could produce a tornado within the next couple of minutes. If you're south of Bude, Mississippi, you need to be in your safe place now. This tornado warning is in effect until 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time as well. Port Arthur, you're still seeing a violent tornado on the ground, and that is continuing. So please, please, please be weather aware. So we got we're about to see something produced here within the next several minutes, so I'm going to have this I hope live going on behind in the background is not being picked up on. Okay, we got Corey Gherkin's feed here where he's got a drone shot of the potential tornado that is currently developing just southeast of Bude, Mississippi. If you're in Bude, Mississippi, you need to be getting to your safe place now. This storm is potentially about to drop down a tornado, and you need to be ready and prepared out ahead of this supercell here. It does look like potentially we could have a actual tornado, a funnel there starting to really develop. Just a heads up. Wow. See, I think that's Corey. Wow. A lot of rising motion. This thing is really cranking. This is near Bude, Mississippi right now, live from Corey Gherkin's feed here. I'll just have this like this, but it's really going. Alright, so again, if you're you are out ahead of Bude, Mississippi, you need to be in your safe place now. Alright, the storms near Ola, Urana, Georgetown, these are also rotating ever so slightly. Got a tornado possible tag on that severe thunderstorm warning. We got a tornado warning still in effect for Winnsboro. Velocity couplet down here is where we're going to be likely seeing much of that tornado production there. So just ahead, up. Turn that off. There we go. So we got a decent looking storm out here towards Winnsboro. So if you're in Winnsboro, be seeking shelter now. And then going back towards Port Arthur, where a violent tornado is still likely being produced out here, you need to be in your safe place if you're out ahead of Port Arthur. So go ahead. If you're, I would just say, if you're in Port Arthur now, get to the lowest floor of a sturdy building, put a helmet on, and put as many walls as you potentially can around you from the outside world, as this is expected to be pretty long track, and it's already been long track, producing multiple tornadoes along the way, and I don't think the storm is going to be done yet. It's got a long time, and it's going to keep going, it's going to keep pushing. So please, 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 if you're out near Port Arthur, Texas, you need to be seeking shelter now. You're not in a warning yet, but you are likely going to see one within the next couple of minutes. Yeah, a tornado emergency might be included for Port Arthur if this does continue. Then, observed PDS tornado warning was just issued for areas of Bud, Mississippi. Again, a observed PDS situation is ongoing near Bud, Mississippi, as a tornado is on the ground producing extremely dangerous situation. This is just not good, and we are starting our event now. Bear with me, folks, as I issue this onto our Twitter page. There we go. Alright, so looking at Corey's feed that he's got ongoing here, he's got Tornadogenesis being filmed. You can actually see the funnel currently ongoing here. almost like a horizontal vortex. But that's a tornado on the ground here. That's on Corey Gherkin's feed, and I'm not going to share this for long. But this is south of Budd, Mississippi. If you know anybody out in Budd, Mississippi, tell them to get in a safe place now. This is also near Dick and Monroe, Little Springs, Quinton, Lucan, New Hope, Vito, Sucktown, and Williams. This is going to be heading northeast, northeast into those areas. This is a dangerous situation, heading more into some more slightly populated areas, and this is about to be violent. Tornadogenesis continues as this tornado tries to drop a big one. We got a very tight couplet here, still laying on radar, just southeast of Budd. And checking up back on Port Arthur, where our other PDS tornado warning continues. Again, I want you folks out here to stay in your safe place. Stay there until our tornado warning is allowed to expire, but this is a very dangerous situation. A very tight couplet is still being seen on radar. If you're traveling up Highway 73 into Port Arthur, try to find you the closest, sturdiest building you possibly can, and get underground somewhere and stay there until this warning is allowed to expire. So a PDS tornado warning continues for our areas in Mississippi, where we currently have Corey Gherkin's feed on the right hand side of the screen. And we're going to quickly look at our tornado warning out here towards Winnsboro again, where velocity is still ongoing, or our couplet still here. It's still being noted. This is moving northeast into Winnsboro. If you're in Winnsboro, stay in your safe place. You got until 4 p.m. for this warning to expire. Same thing for you folks out towards Budd, Mississippi, and Brookhaven, Mississippi. And for us out here in, I forgot the town's name, Port Arthur. There we go, Port Arthur. If you're in Port Arthur, you got until 3:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time with this warning. But I am expecting it to be continued into Port Arthur, Louisiana, or Mississippi, Texas. Names. I apologize. So if you're situated on County Road or Highway 84 traveling into Quinton, Mississippi, get to your safe place now, as this is a dangerous situation. Tornado is being produced now, and it could be violent here and very long track within the next several minutes. And this storm has a lot to use out here. It's going to travel north. It could go into Jackson later this evening, as we just got so much energy out here, so much potential for these storms, that it would not surprise me at all to see this thing really produce a violent tornado and continue to be very long tracked. Bear with me, just reading everything that's being uploaded. See, Connor Croft. Alright, so a lot of chasers are getting out in front of the storm, heading close to Brookhaven. Or the tornado heading close to Brookhaven. If you know anybody that lives west of Brookhaven, Mississippi, tell them to get to a safe place now. If you're out ahead on County Road 550, get to a safe place out ahead of this threat. What was that issue? Okay, it's good. Let's use this radar real quick. Our rotation couplet continues near Port Arthur, Louisiana. I have said y'all's names a lot, so hopefully y'all get it, that you need to be in your safe place. Anybody south of County Road 73, or actually Highway 73, you need to be in your safe place now. If you're near Shallow Prong Lake, maybe on a boat, I really hope not. You need to be getting out of the water as soon as possible. If If you're out towards Sabine Pass, County Road 87, and traveling into, again, Port Arthur, you need to be getting into a sturdy room of a sturdy building away from doors and windows. Put as many walls as you possibly can between you, and try to find a bicycle helmet that you can put on top of your head to protect your head, and maybe grab some pillows and just head to a safe place now. Going back to our storm near Budd, Mississippi, this one continues to move northeast out ahead towards Quinton. If you're in Quinton, Mississippi, get to your safe place now. You're next up in line for this tornado, this damaging tornado that is still on the ground. Matter of fact, we do have a CC drop that is becoming notable on a radar now. And then our tornado warning does continue up near Winnsboro for the next 33 minutes. Unfortunately, we do have a very bad radar hole here, as one of the radars are out. So that is unfortunate for us because we are not able to see that one cell, but we're really going to push it to try to see it. Another particularly dangerous tornado watch, or extension to the watch, was issued for East Mississippi there, as you saw pop up real quick. Unfortunately, one fatality was reported from the Texas tornado, and that would be this one that's heading into Port Arthur. A lot of lightning activity is with this storm, as it is very strong and about to produce, is producing a potentially violent tornado, and is about to move into the area of Port Arthur, or at least south of Port Arthur. Port Arthur, Texas. Going back to using the Jackson, Mississippi radar here, we are everybody northeast of Budd needs to stay in their safe place. Quinton, if you're in Quinton, Lucene, Sucktown, go ahead and be staying in that safe place. Out ahead of it, go ahead and be preparing for a new tornado warning to get issued near Caseyville, Lloyd Store, Midway, Bowerton, Allen, Pleasant Hill, Union Church. A new tornado warning will be possible with that here shortly. And speaking of a new tornado warning, a line or a QCLS threat that's following in behind these supercells is beginning to ensue, as a new tornado warning has been issued. This is an observed tornado in Louisiana near Leesville and New Lalino, Louisiana. If you're in this area, you need to be seeking shelter now. This is an observed tornado warning. It does look to seem that we do have damage on Brandon Cup Extreme out in Mississippi, so that's a heads up there where that violent tornado is potentially at. But right now we are focusing on the new tornado warning for Leesville and the area of New Lalino, I believe. Excuse me if I butcher your town name as well. Bear with me here. And if you are in this area, you need to find a sturdy building away from doors and windows. Put a bicycle helmet on your head. If you can't find one, get into the lowest ditch near you. And of course, if you're out traveling, do not park under any overpasses. You need to stay in a sturdy building away from doors and windows safely. Just bear with me and I can actually explain what's going on here in just a minute. So this warning is in effect until 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. This was likely a quick spin-up tornado. May still be on the ground, may not still be on the ground, but regardless, treat it as it is. Seek shelter and stay in a safe place until the storm passes or the warning is allowed to be expired. We now have a particularly dangerous situation trying to watch that goes into Jackson, Mississippi. Again, Jackson, Mississippi. You now have a particularly dangerous situation trying to watch for your area. The tornado producing storm that has produced some damage near Quinton, Mississippi, and near Little Springs, Mississippi as well, continues to move northeast towards Shucktown, Lucin, Williams, Cobbs, and Zetas and Vedo. You need to, if you haven't already, I've mentioned your town name a couple dozen times, you need to be seeking shelter. And this cell is going to continue to move northeast, where Caseyville, Lloyd, Midway, Pleasant Hill, Allen, Bowerton, and Midway will see another tornado warning within the next couple minutes, for sure. Port Arthur, heads up as this supercell is heading straight for you. Waiting on that tornado warning to be issued for there. Maybe a tornado emergency if things continue as they are. Storm chasers are in the area of Budd, Mississippi, assisting with search and rescue as homes have been hit. Please, I cannot stress this enough. If you are not in your safe place across this area, you need to be there now. This is a dangerous situation. Multiple tornadoes are potentially, actually, we've got about 3 tornadoes that are on the ground currently with these warnings. Actually 4 now. So this one is observed as well. We got an observed tornado warning up here in northeastern Louisiana towards Winnsboro, which is not shocking at all. So Winnsboro, Mississippi, or Louisiana, excuse me. Too many names. We have a observed tornado on the ground. So all of these are dropping tornadoes right this second. We have 4 tornadoes. One in southeastern Texas that's producing a potentially violent tornado. It has a particularly dangerous situation tornado warning on it. Then we have the tornado warning out towards west central Mississippi until about 4 p.m. where a tornado is likely being produced still. Another tornado warning is in effect for the areas of northeastern Louisiana for Waynesboro. And we have the violent tornado that's likely still being produced out towards Brookhaven, Mississippi. All are likely going to be dangerous. We have a particularly dangerous situation tornado warning for the one near Budd, Mississippi. Search and rescue is ongoing out there at this time. Flash flooding is appearing in Arkansas, so if you have family out in Arkansas, make sure that they are weather aware. Just looking at some of the Twitter feeds real quick. Now a huge red tornado is being reported near Budd, Mississippi. Just a heads up, a huge wedge tornado is being reported near Budd, Mississippi, where Jordan Hall has caught it on film. Beaumont, south of Beaumont and west of Port Arthur, we continue with our extremely dangerous situation tornado warning. Velocity continues to look incredible. That is moving into Port Arthur now. Tornado warning down here towards the areas of New Lalino and Leesville continues. That's going to be east of those areas now, where multiple little kinks are in the line. That has caused a tornado. The tornado might have lifted, but treat this warning as it is still potentially on the ground. So stay in your safe place. It's not done yet. Vince and Nathan Moore are on a very interesting storm out here near Winsboro, Mississippi, or Louisiana. I'm going to do this all day. Near Winsboro, Louisiana. If you are in and east of Winsboro, stay in your safe place. Tornado warning is still in effect until 3 p.m. This is a public confirmed, actually 4 p.m., excuse me. 4 p.m. This is a public confirmed tornado on the ground and is moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. Jordan is still getting live footage of the potential large violent tornado on the ground near Budd, Mississippi. Alright, so we continue with our particularly dangerous situation tornado warning up north in Mississippi. That now includes Hazelhurst and Wesson, Mississippi, and areas that I mentioned earlier. That includes Caseyville, Midway, Bowerton, Lloydstar, New Site, Brown Wells, Martinsville, Gallatin, Tillman, and again Hazelhurst. This tornado warning is in effect for an hour and 6 minutes. So this tornado is a confirmed and large, extremely dangerous tornado that was located near McCall Creek, or 13 miles east of Madeville, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. This is a particularly dangerous situation tornado that is on the ground. Take cover now. Damaging tornado weather spotters confirmed this. You are in a life-threatening situation. Flying debris may be deadly to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be destroyed. Considerable damage to homes, business, and vehicles is likely, and complete destruction is possible. This warning is not expected to expire until 4:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time. You need to get to a safe place now if you aren't already near Hazelhurst. This is likely going to be a long-track supercell that will track close to Jackson, Mississippi later this evening, as this is what we're expecting all evening, excuse me. Again, a particularly dangerous situation tornado warning continues for Hazelhurst, Mississippi. I'm pretty sure that's going to be another PDS tornado warning for the other storms down in Texas. And that is correct. Still observed, and a particularly dangerous situation tornado warning is now existent for Port Arthur. Port Arthur, Texas and Louisiana. We've said your names multiple times. I've mentioned your town name, so I hope you've heeded the warning. This is now for your area until the next 48 minutes, so 4:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time, as a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was located 7 miles southeast of La Belle, or 9 miles west of Port Arthur, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. Again, this is a particularly dangerous situation tornado that is on the ground, and you need to be taking shelter now. Hazard, a damaging tornado is likely continuing. Radar source, this is a radar confirmed tornado warning. You are in a life-threatening situation. If you are outside, flying debris may be deadly to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be destroyed. Considerable damage to homes, businesses, and vehicles is likely, and complete destruction is possible. You need to be seeking shelter now, putting as many walls as you can between you, potentially going under or in a basement if you are out and about in Port Arthur. Tornado warning continues out here for the areas east of Leesville and New Lelino. Those areas in Texas. Louisiana. We're still getting a lot of damage out here that Corey and Brandon Kopic are both covering here. So this is just a dangerous situation at this point. And there's still a lot of clearing out and about from the storm chaser feeds. Alright, so we have we currently have 4 different areas that we're watching still. Alright, I appreciate it, Jacob. So, we still got tornadoes being seen near Lincoln County, Mississippi from Freddie McKinney. So that is going to be this storm here that has already produced damage and a large tornado. This continues for an hour and 1 minute, so until 4:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time, we are expecting this warning to continue, and even farther out to that. So please stay weather-aware. Stay in your safe place if you're out towards Weston and Hazelhurst, going out to Crystal Springs and Georgetown, as this is going to be on the ground for a long while. We have reports of this already producing damage just southeast of Bud. And now we're having reports of a large tornado just south of, or just northeast of Bud being seen from Freddie's stream. Alright, I'm going to real quickly go to Port Arthur. Actually, let's talk about this new tornado warning, and then we'll go to Port Arthur. A new area of rotation east of Clinton and west of Greensburg, Louisiana, has just been issued, as a little couplet here is being seen on radar. That warranted our new tornado warning that continues until 4:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. As a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Pride, or 8 miles south of Clinton, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. A tornado is possible. You can see the lightning activity beginning to pick up on this cell. This is going to continue to move again northeast into a decently rural area, but if there is anybody near Blairstown, Okonola, Hatchersville, out towards Colemantown, Darlington, Chipola, Felixville, Woodland, Phelps, and Easleyville, you need to be seeking shelter now, as a tornado warning is in effect for your area until 4:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Going back towards Port Arthur, where a strong and violent tornado is still likely heading for your area. I really hope you're in your safe place if you're out here and in a low, the lowest you can get away from windows and doors, because this is a dangerous situation. I am too. This is a high risk type of day, most definitely. But it's, I mean, moderate risk is still strong enough at this time to kind of heed what we're seeing out here. Bear with me here. So we're seeing a big time tornado out in Mississippi, close to a wedge. Ongoing horizontal vortices is happening just west of Brookhaven, Mississippi. If you know anybody out near Brookhaven, Mississippi, go ahead and let them know. Inform them that a large tornado, a violent tornado, is ongoing and is expected to move northeast into these towns here: Midway, Lloydstar, Bowertown, Brownswells, Martinsville, Gallatin, and again Hazelhurst. I've mentioned these town names before as well. The storm is moving somewhere around, let's see, 40 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and time this out for everybody. It's a dangerous tornado, so we'll take a... Alright, here we go. Finally, it wants to work today. Alright, so Bowertown, this will be in your area within the next 14 minutes. Again, this is a tornado confirmed on the ground, a particularly dangerous situation. Tornado warning is in effect for Weston and Hazleton, as a violent tornado is likely going to continue northeast into Bowerton, which is within the next 14 minutes, Glancy within the next 21, Martinsville within the next 24, Gatlin in the next 26, Hazleton 29, and Sadie Grove 32 minutes. The total population that could be affected is 4,500. Near 6,000 different people could be affected by this one tornado. Get to a safe place. Put as many walls as you can between you. Get away from the outside world. Put a bicycle helmet, a hard hat, whatever you got in your house that could protect your head, and seek shelter if you're near the Hazelhurst area. Again, a large and violent tornado is being reported still on the ground near that region of Hazelhurst, Mississippi. Of course, Port Arthur, we're still seeing that very violent rotation, and we're just going to be bouncing in between these warnings. The ones that I see that are really concerning, we'll look at those, and then we'll look at the ones that are less concerning in my eyes. But if you're south of Port Arthur, where this velocity is really going to go in between here, get into your safe place now. It looks... maybe Port Arthur may be able to miss this ever so slightly, but regardless, stay in your safe place if you're out across Port Arthur, Mississippi, or Louisiana, going into Port Arthur, Texas, going into Louisiana. Sorry, I apologize there. We still got observed tornado warning that's still in effect for areas east or south of Simpson, Louisiana, and east of Leesville and New Lalino, Louisiana, where a couplet continues, and you can actually see a really classical QLCS type thing where we're seeing bowing echoes with hook echoes coming out of the line. And yes, a CC drop is also being noted on the radar too. So a tornado is on the ground just east of the Rose Pine area, northeast of Rose Pine. That's likely going to be a tornado. It could be just noise right this second, but it is an observed tornado warning, so regardless, you need to be in your safe place. It does look like velocity does match up, so if you're anywhere east of the Leesville area of Louisiana, you need to be in your safe place now. Going back over to our tornado warning out here in near Clinton, we still have a very interesting couplet, if you will, that continues, and that will continue to move north near County Road 10, 38, 43, and 67. So seek shelter if you're out in that area. And then going back up here towards the north near Jackson, Mississippi, going towards Winsboro, A radar indicated tornado warning continues for another 9 more minutes, so until 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. A tornado warning that is radar indicated continues for the areas of Bakes, Sunrise Landing, Longview, Crowview, Bushes, Backenston, Louisiana. And then talking about our Hazelhurst storm, once again, a still large and extremely dangerous tornado is still on the ground at this time near Hazelhurst, northwest of Brookhaven. We haven't looked at CC in a while, so we do have a large CC drop that is showing up on radar as well, unfortunately. So it's been on the ground for a good bit now, and it does continue. And then let's do the same for Port Arthur. Yeah, there's still a CC as well near Port Arthur, just south. You can see that CC drop. And our CC, or which means correlation coefficient, is what we look at to see if there's any type of tornado debris or debris being lifted up in the air or into the atmosphere. And it does look like our Port Arthur storm is continuing to loft those debris in the air, just south of Port Arthur in general. Thankfully, hopefully this will stay in a rural area if it continues with its track. But if you're in Port Arthur, you still need to be in a safe place. As you still got a tornado warning for the next couple of minutes. Multiple tornadoes are likely being produced out ahead of this line here near the KPOE radar. Or, let's see, where are we at? It's going to be south of Simpson and west of Woodworth, Louisiana, where multiple little Boeing segments here, or hook echoes, are coming out of this line and producing quick spin-up velocity couplets out here, or just quick spin-ups in general. That is where we'll see multiple tornadoes likely try to touch the ground here and produce before quickly ending.
So yeah, that's what's happening here. We've got currently 5 tornado warnings. 2 of those are ES, very dangerous situations. We've got on top of that, Vernon, Harrison, confirmed 21 ground.
So Freddy still has a potential large, extremely dangerous situation tornado. It's still on the ground near, again, Hazelhurst, Mississippi, and west of Brookhaven, Mississippi. Good news is the velocity looks like it's weakening just a little bit, but unfortunately this thing is still going to be producing supercells or tornadoes in its future here. Tornado damage is still being reported in and around the North Houston metro area. So please, if you're located around that area, you need to be in your safe place, or not in your. You need to be aware of the damage, and if you come alongside the damage, stay out of the way for emergency, and make room for emergency response teams to get in. A new tornado warning, which I definitely agree with, has been issued south of Alexandria, Louisiana, where multiple tornadoes is likely. I'm just going to say this now. We're likely going to have multiple spin-up tornadoes touch the ground near Woodworth and Glenmora, Louisiana, as this is a QLCS type line that's continuing to move into this area or region with multiple couplets inside of it. I'm trying to think. And so unfortunately we do have one death that was reported from these storms back in Texas from earlier today. What is that at? Oh, it's up here. Yeah, it's up here. There it is. I was trying to figure out where that tornado warning was just issued. I apologize. So a new tornado warning has just been issued for Delhi, Louisiana. This is beginning to move very close to Lake Providence and traveling into the north central Mississippi area. So if you're out towards Delhi or Delhi and Interstate 20, you need to be seeking shelter now. And I do again apologize if I cannot pronounce your town name correctly. That is completely by mistake. And unfortunately, this area is in a very bad radar hole. So we're gonna be counting on storm chasers out here to give us important information about this storm. But a new tornado warning does exist for the next 33 minutes, so until 4:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time for Delhi, Louisiana. Now we're getting tornado reports. That's not good. The lady trapped in her house from debris from a tornado that moved through, enough damage to block Highway 84 and surrounding roads. So that is likely going to be an injury as well coming in to the from the Hazelhurst tornado here, or the Bood tornado that went through. Big time tornadoes is still being produced by this cell. We are beginning to move closer and closer to nocturnal event, so be sure you have multiple ways of getting warnings tonight. And be sure your phone is turned up to the highest level so you can hear if warnings get issued for your area. Alright, so newest mesoscale just came out for central Mississippi. And I will show you that real quick. So isolated supercell development could pose a significant tornado threat into central Mississippi. There's still a lot of CAPE out and about across this area. So this includes Jackson, McComb, and Vicksburg, Mississippi, from 4:30 and 5 p.m. And this is where that current supercell is. This is where that current supercell is going to track. So this is pretty much a small mesoscale for the Hazelhurst tornado. Yes, so speaking of the the Port Arthur tornado, let's go back to it. It is still on the ground and is still observed as a particularly dangerous situation tornado warning. So it's still moving southeast of Port Arthur. Thankfully, it does seem that this is starting to move into a more rural area across some waters. But Lone Pine, you need to be in your, if you live around Lone Pine, you need to be in your safe place now. And then going near Lake Charles, since this thing has been very long track, Lake Charles, you need to be preparing anyway. You need to really just have your eyes peeled on this storm. Now, this could begin to wrap up down here and kind of just cut off with the tornado producing, but I'm just saying now, just ahead of this, Vinton, Sulphur, Lake Charles, everyone around that area, you need to be prepared for a potential long track tornado continuing into that area. We're probably going to see some newer tornado warnings get issued here in a little while into Louisiana. That is going to be the Lake Charles Bureau area where that tornado is going to be, or the newest tornado warnings are going to be issued. And yes, the tornado near Port Arthur has been on the ground for nearly an hour to 2 hours. So it's been on the ground for a long extended period of time. And that's what we mean by long track. All of these tornadoes are going to be very long track. Again, if you're west of Woodworth and Glenmora, Louisiana, there's likely going to be a bunch of spin up tornadoes within this line. So just a heads up there. If you live anywhere west of where this line is currently going, or east, excuse me. If you live anywhere east of where this line is currently moving, you need to be in your safe place now. And that tornado warning continues for the next 29 minutes, and it will expire at 4:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. We have two areas of potential circulation out here near Clinton, Louisiana. This area here, and this area here. So just a heads up there if you're on County Road 10, 38, and 67. No CC drop is being detected on the radar, but that is something that I am closely monitoring. This is the last storm. We still have our Deheli tornado that's continuing. It could have a strong velocity on it due to radar. It is really hard to tell, but we could have a velocity couplet just south of Deheli right here that's continuing to move north into the Deheli area and into Interstate 20. So if you have family or if you live here, seek shelter now, move into a sturdy building, put as many walls as you can between you from the outside world, bring you a bicycle helmet to keep you safe. And I think we pretty much covered a lot of our tornado warnings out and about here for the moment. I'm just watching for any other changes. Bear with me. Okay. Alright, and if you're just now tuning in here, we are now covering a tornado outbreak that's ongoing through Dixie Alley that spreads through Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. A PDS tornado watch continues for the next 4 hours and 57 minutes. A particularly dangerous situation. This primarily means that we are going to have threats for long track, very strong tornadoes all across the area. And let me just read this because my brain is not exactly working on what to say. But the primary threats include numerous tornadoes expected, with a few intense tornadoes likely, widespread damaging wind, and scattered significant gusts up to 80 miles per hour is likely. Scattered large hail and isolated very large hail events to 2 inches in diameter, with some of these supercells that are alone by themselves. Just now getting wind points wind reports of 80 miles per hour with the storms ongoing out here ahead. So Alexandria, Louisiana, heads up. There is a winds up to 80 miles per hour likely ongoing. You need to be in your safe place out there, no matter if it's a tornado or not, because that could still cause tornado-like damage across that area. So please stay weather aware. The velocity on this storm near Clinton, Louisiana, going into Mississippi now is starting to fall apart here, but this is going to be a supercell that will have to be monitored at it as it tracks into Mississippi, where this area here has had hours and hours to have clearing, and we're likely going to see this one also become somewhat of a long track tornado this evening. And speaking of that, small funnels are being reported southwest of Deheli, Louisiana, at around 4:03. A wall cloud is getting better organized, so that is up here near Lake Providence. This is with our storm here that's beginning to really take shape, according to spotter reports. Matter of fact, our storm chaser Nathan Moore looks to have a potential wall cloud on stream, so we're gonna kind of keep an eye on his stream here. But multiple funnel clouds and wall clouds have been reported with this Deheli storm here in Louisiana. stay in your safe place. Seek shelter now. Ahead of it, Eeps going into Pioneer and including Lake Providence. Just a heads up there, as a tornado warning could get issued for your area here in a little while due to that chance for a reported funnel and wall cloud. So tornado genesis is likely with that cell over there in Delhi, Louisiana. Particularly, never mind. As I was about to talk about it, it is now back to a radar indicated tornado warning. Our velocity couplet has broken up, so that is great news for you folks out in Hazelhurst. But regardless, you're still in a tornado warning for the next 38 minutes. So until 4:30, or excuse me, let's see, until 4:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time, this tornado warning continues for Hazelhurst, Mississippi. The good news is it's not on the ground anymore and it's not violent, but this is a supercell that we're going to have to keep a really close eye on for it to continue to produce a tornado. Now, large hail is definitely going to be expected with it here shortly. As you can see, the radar here just over I-55 is showing some larger hail, signatures. There we go. Larger hail signatures south of Hazelhurst, Mississippi. Going back towards our Clinton storm, nothing really being produced as of now, just some light rotation, but you're still in the warning until 4:30 and 4:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And whoops. Our storm out toward Delhi is potentially producing a tornado now, so we're keeping a close eye on that one. Multiple tornadoes are likely being produced out ahead of the Woodworth and Glenmora area. Regardless if a tornado is being produced or not, we have a considerable severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag on it for 70-mile-per-hour winds and small pea-sized hail. And we had 80-mile-per-hour wind report near or south of Leesville, Louisiana here. So, this being said, even though you may not be seeing a tornado, you're going to be dealing with those 80-mile-per-hour winds. As I mentioned, this is like a tornado. You need to be in your safe place if you aren't already in Alexandria and areas towards Woodworth and Glenmora, as strong gusty winds and spin-up tornadoes continues. Port Arthur, the threat for you has moved east, most thankfully. Now, flash flooding is likely continuing or ongoing out towards Port Arthur, as this has been a pretty slow-moving storm right over the area, dropping tons and tons of rain. So flash flooding is possibly ongoing out to Port Arthur. So of course, be sure you are not driving in flooded roadways. And the tornado warning for Port Arthur has been dropped. Now it does continue for the area south of Lone Pine. Thankfully, this violent tornado that's still showing an incredible radar signature is staying in a pretty rural area for right now. This tornado, as a matter of fact, been on the ground for nearly an hour, as our friend Jacob WX has mentioned. So, nearly an hour to 2 hours, this storm has been on the ground, tracking all the way from close to Sugar Land, Texas, or really close from Angelton, Texas, and continuing all the way over towards Port Arthur. So, this tornado could have a chance of continuing into near Lake Charles. That is something I will keep a very close eye on, and we are nowhere done with this event, as this event is really going to continue into the evening. We have been live for nearly an hour, excluding the other live stream from about 30-40 minutes ago. And real quickly, wow, more storm footage is coming in of that tornado in East Bud, Mississippi. If you follow me on Twitter at WeathermanNick1, I am reposting a lot of this tornado footage out on there. Speaking of, by the way, that tornado that produced the violent tornado south of Port Arthur is still under a particularly dangerous situation tornado warning until 4:30 Central Daylight Time. As you can tell by this insane velocity that is continuing, it's still very violent. So if you are out ahead of it, be seeking shelter if you haven't been already. Our tornado warning for areas of Woodworth and Glenmora has been cut off ever so slightly, so county roads and towns of Fullerton, Picton, Ditto, Afman, Cora, Linder, and going out towards Sedree, or those that the warning has been cut off from you, but you're still dealing with damaging wind gusts up to 60 and 80 miles per hour. We got a lone cell near Simmers Sport. This being said, this one's going to have to be monitored. It's in a pretty good environment to do something, and so with all of these. The tornado outbreak is ongoing currently. Multiple tornado warnings still exist across Louisiana and Mississippi. Texas, your storm threat is slowly beginning to end. Although we do got a last little push of storms that are beginning to move east. My storm threat here locally is actually probably about to start. So we currently have up to 5 tornado warnings currently in effect. 2, 3, 4 in Louisiana and 1 in Mississippi at this current time. We could see a couple tornado warnings get issued out ahead of this line near Sour Lake, Beaumont, Canalcy, Salisbury, Lumberton. This is all in eastern Texas, as this line could produce a couple quick spin-up tornadoes out ahead of it as well. So that's just a heads up for you folks out there. The severe thunderstorm warning is about to expire for 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail, but still monitoring that threat. Just a little close. Curious for areas close to home. We're seeing some afternoon convection, not morning convection, but afternoon convection. So this here might stabilize the atmosphere well enough for us to be able to miss out on some of the severe weather in northern Alabama. But still, regardless, the squall line or QLCS line is expected to move through this area. This temperature is 68. Feel free to ask any questions. I'm willing to answer. So we've been live for about 3 hours now, including the live stream from earlier. Alright, so we potentially have a tornado on the ground near Lake Providence, Louisiana. Again, we potentially have a tornado on the ground near Lake Providence, Louisiana. That is going to be the hilly areas of Louisiana where... Am I seeing things right? I can't see if that's a... well, the winds are gusting for sure, so... Alright. I hate to use Storm Chaser's footage while live anyways. Actually, we got 2 areas of rotation, I believe. So we got a little area potentially rotating just south of Deheli, and we got area here just northeast of Deheli that is potentially rotating here and potentially trying to do tornado genesis on that end. So if you're out there towards Deheli, Louisiana, seek shelter, stay in your safe place. If you haven't been... if you haven't seeking shelter yet, you need to be in there now. Don't try to go outside and film this, as we're really beginning to head into the overnight hour frame. You need to have multiple ways of getting warnings. We still have a tornado, a particularly dangerous situation tornado watch until 9 p.m. tonight across all of Louisiana, or most of central Louisiana, southwestern Mississippi, and of course the extreme southeastern parts of Texas. And it's extreme southeastern parts of Arkansas as well. few storms in southwestern Alabama is already producing a couple rumbles of thunder. And if you would like, share the stream. I know we ain't doing much, and this is not the stream that most people may be used to, but again, still a lot of stuff is being reported. Welcome in, Ian Malicoute. And for the ones that are curious who Ian Malicoute is, he is the owner of the Malicoute Weather Team, one of the best storm chasers out and about the Oklahoma area and going out towards South Texas, Kansas, those areas there. So the Plains tornado chaser, if you will. He's pretty amazing. So according to the Jefferson County, Texas, or Port Arthur scanner reporting multiple injuries. Have I been saying Port Arthur? I have been. Port Arthur, Louisiana. Yeah, that just hit my head. Port Arthur, Texas, scanner reporting multiple injuries and fatalities along with catastrophic damage. Also some reports of fires associated with some oil refineries. So that is really bad news. Unfortunately, it is expected. Hopefully, I don't know what to say really. Just be praying for the people out in this risk. Yep, it's Texas. And Mr. Ian, you are probably one of the best chasers out and about. Out and about. Let's see. So that the rotation does continue northeast of Clinton, but it honestly is not as strong as it was. We got about 12 more minutes on this warning. Again, this warning is not set to expire until 4:30 Central Daylight Time, and this is for northeastern Clinton, Louisiana. Unfortunately, we are still getting oh my goodness. Every time I look at this thing, we're still getting damage and death reports and injury reports near Port Arthur now, Texas, where a violent tornado just went through and caused multiple oil refineries to get destroyed. Catastrophic damage is being reported, and look at this thing still go. This is one of the long track tornadoes I've seen in a while, since Rolling Fork, really. Not even since Rolling Fork, really. The beginning of this year has been incredible. So, but we still have a very violent tornado likely continuing on the ground here. You can see that little CC drop. Regardless, it is just becoming a tree ripper right at the moment. I'm sure there's a bunch of oil refineries out here as well. But that is an incredible velocity couplet there. By the way, velocity is what shows us the turning of the winds in the upper atmosphere. We use the velocity to kind of show us if there's going to be damaging winds or tornado genesis, if there's a tornado likely being produced. So that's just what our velocity is, and reflectivity shows us if it's raining, snowing, hailing, or even if there's debris being lofted up in the air. Essentially, the reds and the greens, the light greens and the darker greens on radar means light to slightly. I don't know what you would call the darker green, but I guess light rainfall, and then as you get into the yellow, orange, and red, that's heavy to extremely heavy rainfall. That's ongoing. And there's that tornado warning near Lake Providence that I mentioned was going to be possible, and it's just been issued. Matter of fact, still we have reports of funnel clouds likely being reported with this, and a wall cloud or two. So just a heads up on that. Wow. I apologize. But it does not look. There's a extreme damage currently across Texas. It looks like this was a construction site, so that's probably why it looks the way it does. But extreme damage seems to be spread across Bud, Mississippi, Louisiana. This is very unfortunate. Mobile homes, I do apologize about that. Actually, my audio is not playing, so y'all are not able to hear it, but mobile homes look to be thrown. Lots of damage is being seen. I would share it, but I can't because this is it's copyright issues, but very dangerous situation out ahead of this. Alright, back on our storms. We still have a tornado warning for Hazelhurst, Mississippi. Thankfully, this is not as violent as it was, although it could be trying again as we got a hook echo that's beginning to develop, and that's an interesting hook echo that's really beginning to develop here. What a hook echo essentially is, don't know what I'm saying, is a radar signature that we use to kind of forecast or predict tornadogenesis. I'm running on 2 hours of sleep. That's great. But Hazelhurst and areas up north of it, Crystal Springs, going into Terry and Florence. Just a heads up here that this is likely going to be something of a... it's likely going to try again with tornadogenesis. We could see another long track tornado if the environment supports it. So yes, the Port Arthur tornado has hit a few things out and about ahead of it. We've had oil refineries hit. We've had a bunch of homes that were hit. It looked like a subdivision that was under construction was damaged severely. And there's catastrophic damage out there towards South Port Arthur, unfortunately. So, and I think there was 1 or 2 deaths reported, including some injuries. So, unfortunately, yes, we've had some damage out there. Another considerable severe thunderstorm warning was issued for Oberlin, Oakdale, Glenmora, and Pine Prairie. I was talking about this one earlier. New tornado warning has been issued. Still a particularly dangerous situation east of Port Arthur. This now includes the areas south of Lone Pine. This is in a very, very unpopulated area where absolutely no road or town exists. But if you're near Hackberry, Louisiana, you need to be in your safe place now. I honestly expect this thing to continue to track into this area. It could go south of you, but we won't really know until it really gets close out there. But yeah, that's correct, Ian. Downtown Port Arthur was missed, but areas south of it was impacted. That includes like West Port Arthur, riding along 87 and 82, because there's a lot of damage reports being reported from Port Arthur in general. But areas south of Port Arthur. And I apologize about that. So a new particularly dangerous situation tornado warning continues into parts of West Hackberry. If you're in Hackberry, be getting into your safe place now. Still a very long track tornado continuing. Near Lumberton, we have a considerable severe thunderstorm warning for the next 50 minutes. So for 70, 80 mile per hour winds. Same thing out here near the areas of Oakdale, Pine Prairie, Ville Platte, and Oberlin, Louisiana. So be seeking shelter if you haven't already out there. Strong damaging winds is expected. Let me turn off the tornado watch real quick, just so I can actually see what's going on. That helps a whole lot. I'm not going to say anything yet, but interesting activity out here for sure. We got a couple. We got a little supercell out here towards McGee, Mississippi. Not currently rotating, but that is an interesting cell there that will have to be monitored. And as HRRR predicted, this is a very messy setup. So you got a line behind it producing QLCS type tornadoes and gusty wind. Then of course you have your prefrontal supercells that are continuing to push east as well. So it's making it very messy and very hard to really understand what's going on. But remember, we still got a large area out here that has unused energy within this general vicinity. So near Baton Rouge, Appalachias, Lafayette, Baton Rouge, I've already said that, up towards New Orleans. So we still got a lot. This supercell, if it can gather its act, we could see something with this one. That's just a heads up. Yeah, that's correct, Ian. And there's that new tornado warning for this cell that does continue into Liberty, or just southeast of Liberty, tracking into Macomb and Summit, Mississippi now. So areas in Mississippi is now under a tornado warning until 5:15 p.m. Central Daylight Time. That includes northeastern St. Helene Parish and southeastern Louisiana, west central Pike County and southern Mississippi, and southeastern Amite County in southern Mississippi until, again, 5:15 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So that new tornado warning does include the smaller towns of Chipola, Gillsburg, Huron, Mixon, Terry's Creek, Gladding, and Peoria, Mississippi. Although Chipola is in Louisiana. Let's look at the velocity quick. And yep, there's our velocity signature here. This supercell is interesting. Honestly, I'm curious about the environment that it's in. So bear with me. But before we do that, I am seeing footage or pictures of very, very violent damage out towards Budd, Mississippi, where a home looks to be completely obliterated, and the home looks to be fairly newly built, maybe from the early 2000s, until the earlier 2020s. So, not going to pre-rate anything, but I am reposting everything across. Yep, Budd, Mississippi does have a home completely obliterated, unfortunately, which is not good news. Oh. Okay. We had a observed tornado warning that was just taken away there. Like I mentioned, it was going to end up producing anyway. Violent tornadoes still on the ground out here towards very extreme southwestern Louisiana, east of Port Arthur. I'm generally going to keep an eye on this, as this is our only observed particularly dangerous situation tornado. I think this is in a fully rural area, but it is something that we need to watch. And we did just get a new tornado warning now for Tulare. And again, this is beginning to turn into a QLCS line threat. So we're going to get tornado warnings like this throughout the rest of the evening as the low-level jets are really going to start cranking. It's about to be 5 o'clock Central. So that lower-level jet's going to really be cranking. It's going to be helping our storms get going. Rotation's going to be active. Wow, man. This is not good. do apologize for the silence for a second. I was looking at some of the imagery on Twitter from the tornadoes. We currently have 4 tornado warnings and 5 to 6 severe thunderstorm warnings. 1 in Texas, 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, or 3, 4, 4 severe thunderstorm warnings in Louisiana, and then we have 3 tornado warnings out in Louisiana, and then 1 tornado warning in Mississippi and Louisiana. That couplet there is beginning to strengthen just a little bit. So just a heads up if you're out southeast of Liberty, Mississippi. And I am going to talk about this tornado warning for Tallulah, Mississippi, because I didn't feel like, or Louisiana, about to be into Mississippi. So just a heads up. But if you're in Tallulah, Richmond, going out towards Pioneer, Forest, Oak Grove, Lake Providence, a QLCS line is beginning to move in where quick spin-up tornadoes is likely going to happen. And we're going to see damaging winds up to 60, 70, and 80 miles per hour along this line. And the reason why we got this tornado warning, or these tornado warnings, is because multiple areas within this line is rotating. While it is very hard to tell right now because we have a radar hole out here, there is several segments within that line that's rotating. So regardless if you're in a severe thunderstorm warning that includes 70, 80 mile per hour winds, or a tornado warning, you need to seek shelter. Put as many walls as you can between you from the outside world. Put a helmet on and stay there until the storm passes or the warning is allowed to expire. And we're getting reports now of brand new constructed homes destroyed, and I mean completely destroyed, near the Splendora area in Houston, Texas. So, these were newly constructed homes that were being built or were already built. So, that's going to determine a lot since it was a construction site. We'll have to continue to monitor that. And all of that was produced by this Port Arthur tornado. That originally started out way back here in League City and Texas City. As a matter of fact, we actually watched live on the camera out here near Dixon as the tornado crossed. And look there. Tornado's out and gone, and we're left with sunny skies now across Texas. What would you know? Or, yes, Texas, southeastern Texas. So that's pretty incredible, actually. It just shows how incredible weather can be, because in 1 minute it could be stormy and the next it could be sunny. That's why you always got to be weather aware. And now coming in, boats were struck by the tornado along the Port Arthur Canal with stuff thrown all over the place. Trees and power lines are damaged as well. So boats have been thrown across the Port Arthur Lake there. Matter of fact, I did mention that area earlier today, that you should get the boats. If you had a boat, that you should be off the waters. Looks like couplet could be trying to weaken right now, but with how long track the storm has been, we're going to have to continue to watch it. So Hackberry, just go ahead and be prepared to get into your safe place if you're not already. I recommend getting there now, just in case. This dumb radar hole is about to not make me happy. There's likely some rotation going on near Harrisonburg and Sicily Island, so heads up there. Very broad rotation, very hard to tell as well because the radar hole out here. But just a heads up near the Windsor, Sicily Island, New Elton. This is going into from Louisiana into Mississippi. Just be aware that a tornado warning is definitely possible depending on if these storms continue to rotate. This is still a not a tornado tagged severe thunderstorm warning, but just a heads up, just in case. We're down to 4 tornado warnings still. If you have a town name that you want me to check out real quick, I don't mind it. What's that? Okay. So a new severe thunderstorm warning was issued for northeastern Lake Charles for 70-mile-per-hour winds. This is a considerable damaging threat, as wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour is likely. The severe thunderstorm warning is issued until 5:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Hazard 70-mile-per-hour winds is expected, or possible, if you will. We're still getting a lot of reports of damage from either Bud, Mississippi, or where is this at? Or Texas, the area in southeastern Texas. Alright. And if you're just now tuning in, we're covering the large tornado outbreak that's going through today. We've had multiple tornado warnings throughout the entire Dixie Alley area, starting out from Texas, going through Louisiana, and into Mississippi. Some areas of Arkansas was even issued in some of those tornado warnings. And this threat does continue. A PDS tornado watch is in effect until 9 p.m. tonight, as strong, long-track, violent tornadoes is still possible throughout the rest of this evening. Damaging wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour is also in that threat, with smaller hail, or larger hail, up to 2 inches in size. Right now, it's a little bit calmer, but we still have 4 different tornado warnings out and about, so I wouldn't say calm. I would just say we're not having events where tornadoes are on the ground at the moment, other than this one east of Port Arthur. And speaking of this one east of Port Arthur, if you are in Hackberry, you need to be staying in that safe place. This thing is still tight. No matter what I say, it's still very tight. There's no CC being picked up on it, but I am sure there still could be a tornado on the ground. It's just there's nothing out here for the tornado to really hit. And after Hackberry, Grand Lake going into southeastern parts of Lake Charles could be the next ones in a new tornado warning potentially. Okay. I was reading a forecast discussion by the NWS of Birmingham, Alabama, and at 4:35 p.m., a line of severe storms is forming over northeast Louisiana, with scattered showers and storms across Mississippi. A low chance for a severe storm begins near the Mississippi and Alabama state line as early as 7 p.m., with the risk across West Alabama ramping up after 9 and 10 p.m. tonight. So, while we're still getting into the thick of it here, much of the line of storms is beginning to move into east Louisiana. This is turning into more of a linear threat. And speaking of linear threat, let's go ahead and talk about that. Damaging wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour is likely ongoing south of Alexandria, Louisiana. Excuse me. And that does continue. So if you're on Highway 165, you're likely seeing those damaging winds. This continues with the potential of several spin-up tornadoes if this line begins to see bowing segments within it. Whoops, I'm drawing everywhere. So, like I said, this will continue. A threat for a couple spin-up tornadoes is possible north of Lake Charles here. But all in all, this entire line is likely going to be more of a damaging wind threat with that tornado possible tag on it than anything now. A lot of our supercells that has been by themselves are out in Mississippi now. And it is becoming dark, so the instability is starting to kind of drop down a little bit. If you're in here, Ian, are you getting any other reports or seeing any other reports via social media? Gotcha. Alright, so again, just a reminder, much of these storms are still going. The event is far from done. We're beginning to head into the 5 p.m. hour frame. We've been live for an hour and 33 minutes now. Is there a severe thunderstorm watch? No. We have a tornado watch still in effect for areas of Jackson, Mississippi. This is ahead of those of the QLCS line that's beginning to develop with the prefrontals out in front of it. I'm really watching these cells really closely. Right now they're not really gaining any of my attention, except for this one near Macomb, Mississippi. This one actually grabs my attention more than anything. I don't think that was a tornado. I think that was inflow. But we could be seeing rotation somewhere in between this whole entire line right here of storms. So this is heading east of Liberty, going into Macomb, Summit, and Magnolia, Mississippi. And Corey and both Corey and Brandon Kopic are heading south into this or trying to intercept the supercell, if you will. So, I think a new tornado warning. No, they continued the tornado warning. Gotcha. Sorry, I'm looking at what they did with this, but the tornado warning continues for Lake Providence. We're probably going to see a new one get issued close to Yazoo City, and mind you, this is really close to Rolling Fork here. So if you're out across Rolling Fork, don't be scared. Be prepared. If a tornado warning is issued, the chance for a spin-up tornado is possible, of course. Damaging winds up to 60, 70, and 80 miles per hour. So I know there's still some recovery going on out here. Of course, not around 5 o'clock at night, but there's still some stuff out and about in Rolling Fork, and you probably have some storm anxiety from last year's events during the March. And like I just said, this is Ryan's favorite saying, don't be scared, be prepared. There's nothing to worry about. Just know what to do, know where to go. You'll be just fine. Have multiple ways to get warnings um, out ahead of this. And, honestly, I want to talk about our threat here in just a moment when I feel the time to do it. Our strong to violent tornado that's been on the ground and producing tornadoes for more than nearly close to 2 hours now, it looks to finally be wrapping up and turning into more of a damaging wind threat. Let's hope that's the deal. Let's hope that this one supercell that's been producing the damaging tornadoes across the Gulf Coast is weakening. Let's hope this just becomes more of a damaging wind threat. Although, we do have a little supercell out here alone by itself, out ahead of this line, that could get influenced and start rotating. Matter of fact, there could be some low-level rotation developing right now as we speak, or a meso developing. So, that is something that we're going to really monitor here with this newer supercell. Hopefully, this line can actually catch up with it and eat it alive before it gets anywhere. Our line's moving at 30 miles per hour, though, so we'll see what happens with this supercell. And that is one that we're going to have to monitor. I'm sure, given time, it could try to produce a tornado. Yeah, we do not need that tornado in Port Arthur to hit a chemical plant. The good news is the velocity on it looks to be weakening. Let's see. You're good, Jacob. Hey, Ian, if you want to hop on a call real quick and help out, you can. I wouldn't mind it. On a call on Messenger. Just free. Feel free. Because if you see anything, we can have 2 eyes on it. Plus, I'm starting to lose my voice a tad. We missed it earlier to the south. So, yes, I do believe Port Arthur was just lucky enough to get missed, as Ian mentioned earlier. Although, there was some damage reports from southern Port Arthur. Well, here, I call you on Messenger. Bear with us, folks. Alright, so they're slowly slimming away on that tornado warning. And now it is radar indicated. There's still rotation enough. There's still enough rotation to keep a tornado warning warranted. We got 25 more minutes, so the tornado warning is expected to expire around 5:15 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And that's probably why I didn't see somebody was calling me, because my phone is not in my hand. Alright. So a moderate risk still does continue. There was a lot of talk about on issuing that high risk, and everybody was talking about that for the longest. But the good news is a lot of there was some conditional things that the Nationals, the Storm Prediction Center was monitoring, and decided that it was good to keep a moderate risk. And regardless of what risk you are in, you're still going to see some type of severe weather. So it doesn't matter if you're in a slight, it doesn't matter if you're in enhanced, it doesn't matter if you're in a moderate, it doesn't matter if you're in a high or a marginal. You're still going to see something. And as we've learned from earlier this year in Maryland, you could be in a marginal and see a tornado outbreak. So just saying, it doesn't matter what risk you're in. You're still in an area that needs to be monitored. So that's that. Our line in Lake Providence and Tallahassee is continuing to push northeast. With there being terrible radar coverage out there, can't really tell if there's a tornado being produced or not. Our supercell out here towards Mississippi now is still rotating, not producing anything yet, and warrants to be watched. So, all of our tornado warnings are radar indicated. We got the QLCS that's producing the two tornado warnings out here towards Lake Providence, where potentially spin-up tornadoes are likely throughout the rest of the evening. We have the one lone supercell out here towards Macomb, Mississippi, that is being monitored, and of course storm chasers are driving down to it now. We have our tornado warning for our storm that produced multiple long-track violent tornadoes that is finally broken up enough into more of a straight line damaging wind threat. Still tornado warned, as there's enough rotation in it to have a tornado warning on it. But right now, the good news is we're going QLCS and more linear, and hopefully this will knock out our tornado threat. But I'm still seeing a bunch of supercells out ahead of the line that we're going to have to watch. Near Crowley, going towards East Lake Charles. These little cells here are something that we're going to have to keep a close eye on. So this one here, southeast of Lake Charles, as I mentioned earlier, could be rotating right in here. Doesn't really look like it right now, but it's something to watch. Yep, I agree with that. So, let's see. Yeah, this one here is now beginning to look interesting. We got a decent hook echo. It's beginning to try to push out here. And you got your rotation that's showing up on radar now, which is right here. You got your pinkish reddish colors going away from the radar, and of course your reddish colors going towards the radar. That is where we're seeing that rotation at. If this continues, it could track into Macomb, Summit, Magnolia, so just a heads up, if you're out in those areas, and if you're traveling along Interstate I-55, you need to be prepared for a potential tornado warning getting issued for you here in a little while, if this storm continues. Oh. Cute. When things really start to slow down, we'll talk about our threat a little bit more, but I just don't yet feel comfortable about talking about our threat until we get like at least one tornado warning or something, or zero. It would be great if we have zero, but unfortunately we still got 4. Most of them are in Louisiana at this time. There could be some rotation trying to gather south of Hackberry that may uh, get a new tornado warning issued out ahead of it. May what's it called? I don't know. I can't think. But a tornado warning could get issued out in front of ahead of this. So just a heads up if you're in Hackberry and Grand Lake. But it's just a waiting moment right now. It looks like we may just get lucky here with that and see maybe a severe thunderstorm warning get issued near Cameron with a tornado possible tag on it. That's what I'm thinking. I'm sure there's a special weather statement on this though. So we got 18 more minutes on the tornado warning out here that will expire around 5:20. 5:15. A tornado warning remains in effect until 5:15 p.m. CST for North Central Cameron Parish. At 4:48 p.m. CST, a tornado located over Sabine National Wildlife was moving at 30 miles per hour. Of course, hazard tornado and the quarter-size hail. New tornado warning now going into Rolling Fork and Lake Providence. Again, I was talking about you folks earlier. This is for QLCS type spin-up tornadoes. Don't be scared. Be prepared. I know many of you in Rolling Fork probably have some storm anxiety from last year in March when the tornado went through, but as long as you take your procedures, find a place to seek shelter, go into an area and hunker down for now. Bring you a bicycle helmet, go into the lowest floor of a sturdy building, stay away from windows and doors, but as many walls as you can between you from the outside world. Bring a weather radio with you, bring your phone with you, bring us with you, and we will keep you aware on what's coming up here. But again, a tornado warning has been issued for an hour and 1 minute, so until 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. A tornado warning is in effect for Lake Providence, Cary, Rolling Fork, Agnola, and Hollandale, Mississippi. This is for the QLCS line that is continuing through this area here. Quick spin-up tornadoes is possible. And we got multiple Boeing segments now showing up. And unfortunately, this area right here is concerning me. If we can get this to really start shaping up, because we got your nice little Boeing segment inside here, that is going to help potentially produce a quick spin-up tornado in the future. And so that is something we're going to have to watch for. And I don't want to be a crying wolf here, but I mean, this could track north into the Rolling Fork and Agnolia area. So just a heads up, don't be scared, be prepared. Let's hope that it just weakens out, but lightning activity is picking up on it. And that was likely the reason for our tornado warning to be issued out ahead of this. So, heads up in Rolling Fork, heads up in Cary, and heads up in Agnolia. Yeah, they are unfortunately still cleaning up from the tornado from last year. One thing, because we were getting reports of a church being destroyed in Buddy, Bood, Mississippi. A lot of churches tend to get destroyed across here because of the Bible Belt that's through here. And a lot of churches are built within the range of EF2 to EF3 sometimes. And some of them are built EF4 to EF5 type of... Anyway. Alright. Bear with me, folks. I just posted an update on Twitter. Again, you can follow me at WeathermanNick1, where I'm reposting and posting weather updates for everybody on there. We're about to get a new tornado warning for Louisiana. I think. No. That was a while ago. That was in Lake Providence. Never mind. Never mind. Now, going to our storm out here near Macomb, Mississippi. We got a decent couplet on it. Not strong, but it's decent. You got your reds going away from the radar, greens going towards the radar. You can see that clearly here. So that is a thing we're going to have to watch. And of course, your tornado would usually be right in this area here. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Our tornado warning down here towards near Cameron, Louisiana, still continues, although the severe weather threat's pretty much moving out of the warning. Now, if this little kink line continues right across in here, of course I just dropped that tornado warning, which is good. This area here, I'm just going to point it out right now. This little area here, south of Lake Charles, is an area that I'm going to continue to monitor. So that goes into Lake Arthur, areas south of Iowa, Wells, and I believe that's Jennings, Louisiana, where tornado warnings are still possibly going to be issued. And maybe, of course, a severe thunderstorm warning is most likely going to be issued out ahead of this. So just a heads up down there near Cameron, Louisiana. Honestly, this does remind me of Rolling Fork too, because Rolling Fork was almost like a QLC or multicellular supercell. Unfortunately, this area has terrible radar. So that is just a no-duh type of thing. Really interesting type circulation right in here, just southwest of Rolling Fork. I mentioned that one earlier, and a couple others are along this line here. So I mean, you could pretty much say that this entire thing is trying to rotate. So we do have this area of circulation along County Road 1 that could move into Rolling Fork at a given point. At a given point. Alright. So, most of our focus is now going towards Louisiana, or Mississippi. Where this line, I'm really wanting to focus on this line right now, because this is towards an area that's already had very, very scary moments last year. So I'm keeping a close eye on this area here. The tornado, the velocity here looks very broad right this second. Yeah, they just expired that tornado warning. But I would continue to watch this little area here that's beginning to rotate. So if you're somewhere between the area of Macomb and north of Macomb, just a heads up, that area is still interesting to my eyes. But now our main focus is the storms up here across northeastern Louisiana and parts of west central Mississippi. Okay. I am monitoring the chat, by the way, as well, so I'm just not saying much between the chat. So the issue is with Radar Omega using it on PC, you have to pay a subscription. Matter of fact, you have to pay the Alpha subscription just to have it on PC. So I recommend getting Radar Omega for your PC if you're planning on using a app on computer devices and whatnot. Now Radar Omega on phone, I recommend that for sure. This little area of rotation, potential rotation right now is really bugging me. So I'm keeping a close eye because that's a little Boeing segment out ahead of the line near Cary, Mississippi. And that's where, strong gusty winds, of course, and then the potential for a spin-up tornado is likely going to be the issue. And same thing up here, up north. Another little area near Hollandale looks to be rotating potentially. I don't know. This line is in a terrible radar spot, like I mentioned. Frequent lightning is definitely being produced by the line, though. Let's see. So, the tornado warning is heading northeast. The line is heading northeast as well at this point. So where I'm looking at, matter of fact, how fast is this storm moving? We'll draw a storm track. 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So what we're going to do, if it allows me, is try to draw a linear mode. Let's see how well this works. Let me get off of this. Over here. Wait. And I said, what was the speed I just said? I don't have a brain. I just said, I said 6 p.m. I didn't look at the speed. Okay, 40 miles per hour. Oh no. Yeah, this thing is about to do something interesting. I could see the Boeing segment and everything. So, if you're in Rolling Fork, heads up by that. Why is it doing this now? I don't even know what to do about this stupid thing. Yeah, see, it's not going to work. Now, on WSV3, I might be able to get it to work, but I just... I don't know. I'm not going to fiddle with it. But this storm is generally moving northeast, and it is heading into Rolling Fork at 40 miles per hour. So, I could have easily answered that question by that. But I wanted to get a storm timing, and we're likely going to see a tornado, or tornado being produced here very soon. Very tight couplet just south of Rolling Fork, so just a heads up. That's really concerning. What is that tornado warning for? And we got observed tornado warning to talk about now, as these storms are producing spin-up tornadoes all through this line here. We're also getting a lot of wind damage reports. of trees down across Louisiana, but we have a observed tornado warning for the next 34 minutes. The National Weather Service in Lake Charles has issued a tornado warning for, or a observed tornado warning for East Central Everett Line Paris in central Louisiana, southwestern Avoyelles Paris in central Louisiana, northeastern St. Landry Paris in central Louisiana until 5:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time. At 5:10 p.m. Central Daylight Time, a tornado producing storm was located near Indiana or Indian Lake or near Bunkie, moving north southeast at 50 miles per hour. Damaging tornado, radar confirmed. So a CC drop was noted on the radar. I want to quickly make a post about this storm potentially dropping a tornado near Rolling Fork. This is not good looking, and it spooks me because Rolling Fork was just hit last year. Alright, I just made that post. Alright, enough of that. This is radar indicated. So nothing on CC, nothing on our correlation coefficient just yet, but a very strong circulation is ongoing. I want to go back to our storm that is observed, and we're going to look at our CC. Okay. So we had a quick spin-up tornado that is ongoing south of Bunkie, Louisiana. Matter of fact, it might have already lifted, because it does seem that the rotation has, or the velocity has, the CC drop has been gone for a good minute. And here's our severe thunderstorm warning that I was talking about earlier for that damaging wind threat. Out here towards Cameron and everywhere east. So heads up for you out there in Louisiana. We have an observed tornado warning still ongoing north of Outbreak, Louisiana. And then we have multiple tornado warnings ongoing near the Lake Providence area, traveling into Rolling Fork and Magnolia, Mississippi. New tornado warning issued for that Mississippi storm as rotation has picked up on it. We now have a decent hook echo, and here we go. This is going to be one that we're probably going to have to keep an eye on as the hours go on, and I would assume that we're fixing to transition to Jackson. Actually, we'll see. We're probably going to get a new tornado warning issued for areas into Auburn and Bogue Chitto. Those towns there may get issued into a new warning here in a little bit. So a heads up out to you folks out there. A nice looking hook echo is out ahead of this. And a hook echo is just a sign, or is a radar signature that we use to indicate a potential tornado developing. Because that gives us the right environment. You get your inflow going into that general area. Your rotation starts to really go. And you just got enough for that storm to really pick up. And now, unfortunately, that looks like it could be happening. So if you're anywhere along Interstate 55 going north, be aware and take shelter. There's that new tornado warning, actually including a little bit more counties than what I was thinking. So Brookhaven, Weston, you need to be getting to your safe place. Going a little bit closer out towards Bogue, Chitto, East Lincoln, Woolworth, and going north from there, you need to be in your safe place. This warning is in effect for the next 58 minutes, so until 6:15 p.m. Central Daylight Time, as this storm is looking like it could be a long trek. It's just depending on how it goes. The velocity continues the way if the velocity continues to strengthen, we'll have to watch it for that. And it's doing that very much. So we'll have to see. So we currently have 4 tornado warnings, and if you're just tuning in, we're still covering the live or the ongoing tornado outbreak or severe weather outbreak ongoing out here across the deep south or Dixie Alley. We have, again, 4 tornado warnings, one in Lake Providence area. We have the other one near just south of Jackson, Mississippi. We have an observed tornado warning that continues to areas near Cotton Port, and a tornado does seem to still be on the ground ahead of this. If you have family or friends, or if you're in this area, you need to seek shelter. A tornado is still on the ground near Morrow, Lemoine, and Whiteville, down towards Dobson. So if you're in this area, seek shelter now, as a tornado is still on the ground or likely being produced out ahead of this line, or in this line here. You can see your velocity couplet. Again, this is in Louisiana. So if you're in Palmetto, out towards Melville, you need to also get ready and be in your safe place out ahead of the tornado warning. Thank goodness the circulation near Rolling Fork has really weakened, but it wouldn't surprise me if a brief tornado might have... No, nothing on CC, but we could have seen a brief tornado for a bit. Now, we still have a pretty strong line and some bit of rotation near Rolling Fork now entering in. If you're across Rolling Fork, just stay tuned and, hunker down as the storm begins to move through the area. I wonder if we're going to get a new tornado watch anytime soon. Bear with me. Alright, so our tornado continues to be on the ground down here, out towards the areas of New Roads and south of Cottonwood, or Cotton Port, excuse me. So I'm going to make a quick post about that. Whoops. And if you're in this area, like I mentioned before, you need to be seeking shelter if you haven't already. As a tornado has been reported on the ground via radar. Likely lifted due to it being a very quick spin up, but still, you need to be aware and stay in your safe place since you're still in a tornado warning. Let's see, we got 24 minutes on this warning, moving at 50 miles per hour. Damaging tornado is your hazard, of course, radar confirmed. This warning is expected to expire around 5:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time. bear with me here, folks. And of course, if you want better severe weather coverage, you got the one and only Ryan Hall, y'all, Max Velocity, and many others that are out there. Of course, I would recommend watching your trusted local meteorologist as well, and staying tuned in to your National Weather Service overnight tonight. We are beginning to, at this point, we are in the overnight time frames. This is becoming a nocturnal tornado event. You are not going to be able to see the tornadoes. And this being said, you need to have ways of getting warnings tonight. This is going to continue until the late PM hour frame. So from now until 9 PM, going into 11 and 12 AM in the morning time frame as it heads across Alabama. There's a good chance that within the next 30 to 40 minutes that the live stream here will have to end, because I'm going to have to start focusing on my forecast area. So about 6 o'clock this evening is probably when I'm going to really begin to focus on my area. It does seem that much of the storms are staying off to, or much of the rain is staying fairly below severe limits. And this rain is going to help potentially stabilize the atmosphere for northern Alabama. So the severe weather threat, all in all, won't be as intense for our area, but I recommend still staying weather aware and having plenty of ways to get warnings. So we are getting reports of tornado sirens going off in Rolling Fork. I guess they might have put those in after the tornado last year. The tornado sirens are going off around Rolling Fork, which is good. New tornado is likely going to be issued for the areas out here towards Eagle Bend, going towards Redwood, Burnswick, going to Holly Bluff, as a pretty decent area of rotation just off to the south of Rolling Fork is being noted here, just southeast of Tallahoa. That's been going on for a while now. It's in the tornado warning, and it does continue. That's probably going to be a tornado producer here very soon. Just a heads up if you're out pretty close to Eagle Bend. What happened there? Oh. Thought my TV went out for a second. Matter of fact, a tornado is most likely on the ground here. So I'm going to wait on the newest radar scans. We could have a tornado on the ground near Eagle Bend, Mississippi. This is traveling into Mississippi now. We will see here in a minute. It looks like they issued a actual severe thunderstorm warning out ahead of this. So it might just be some type of noise, but there's rotation there for sure. We've been alive for 2 hours and 15 minutes now. And still going. We got an observed tornado warning that continues for Melville and Palmetto. And there's our tornado warning out here where velocity has picked right back up That's going to include Gibbstown, Louisiana. You can see that little rotation. That's going to be a potential quick spin up tornado out ahead of this. Let's see. Tornadoes on the ground. Okay, there's a observed particularly dangerous situation tornado warning that has now been issued as a violent tornado is now noted. If you are in Gibbstown, this is heading straight for you, if not already on top of you. Seek shelter now. This might have been noted at the last minute here, but this is a dangerous situation. If you're in Gibbstown, get to shelter now. Get to the lowest room Get to the lowest room of a sturdy building. Put as many walls and things as you possibly can between you, and get to shelter if you're in Gibbstown. Out ahead of this, we're looking pretty rural, but if you're in Lowry, you're in this tornado warning as well. But Gibbstown is our main focus. A tornado is on the ground via the radar here and is fixing to hit this area. It doesn't appear that Gibbstown is a large area, but if you live somewhere around the interstate or the county road of 27, going northwest into the areas of Hackett's Corner, that's just a heads up to seek shelter here. But that is a tornado on the ground near Gibbstown. So be seeking shelter immediately if you live near this town here. Get to the lowest floor of the sturdy building. Put as many walls as you possibly can between you from the outside world. We will be here by your side to keep you weather aware and safe. Bear with me as I type out post on Twitter. Yes, it is PDS, so a particularly dangerous situation tornado warning has been issued, and you need to get to the lowest floor of a sturdy building away from doors and windows. This is a dangerous and potentially a very strong tornado on the ground, heading just a little north of Gibbstown now. Parts of northern Gibbstown has been likely impacted. Velocity looks to have been falling apart. A quick spin up, most definitely, but this is a observed, particularly dangerous situation tornado warning for Gibson, Louisiana. Excuse me. Let's see. Looks like the rotation is starting to let up just a little bit, but we still have correlation coefficient sitting right over Gibbstown. So just a heads up out ahead of it. Please, if you got family members out there, let them know that they need to be in a safe place now. And heading north of this, tornado imminent for our area here and close to Brookhaven, Mississippi. Brookhaven, Mississippi, you're in a tornado warning. Out ahead of this, Bogue Chitto, out towards East Lincoln. Again, Brookhaven, Woolworth, Weston, Beauregard, and then out towards New Hebron. We do have a tornado that is very imminent here within the next several minutes. Out ahead of this, let's look at the velocity here. Very strong. You can see the blues and purples going away from the radar and the greens and reds going towards the radar. Your tornado is likely going to happen within this area here near Johnson Station, and that is going to likely travel northeast into the East Lincoln area. Again, this supercell is by itself, has nothing to really stop it. So please, please, please be in your safe place if you're out around Brookhaven, Weston, and areas east of that. Our tornado that originally was on the ground and near Cottonport, Louisiana, is now not on the ground anymore, but still radar indicated. So if you are in Plummeto and Melville, seek shelter now. You're still in this tornado warning, and stay in your safe place until the warning is allowed to expire. And then going back up to Rolling Fork area, the storms are beginning to pass. You're likely getting some strong gusty winds towards Rolling Fork. Much of the rotation, the spin-up rotation is moving east of Rolling Fork, thankfully. So that is good news that we're not going to see a tornado out there. We're probably going to either see a severe thunderstorm warning get continued out ahead of this, or another tornado warning for the Indianola, Inverness, Belzoni, Silver City, out towards Sidon, Greenwood. We could see again either a severe thunderstorm warning with tornado possible tag, or another tornado warning get issued. Back to our observed PDS tornado warning. Still have a decent area of rotation, although it has broken up pretty well. Matter of fact, honestly, I'm not seeing much rotation at all anymore, but it's still possible. Could be a little area of rotation right up here north of the tornado warning, but I'm not seeing it. Looks like we still potentially have the breeze north of Gibson, or right over Gibson. We'll see what happens from now, but the tornado might have lifted. Regardless, you still need to stay in your safe place if you're out ahead of this tornado warning east of Gibson, Louisiana. And so the tornado warning was continued for Rolling Fork and Agnolia for the next 26 minutes. So that is heading northeast as well. So this tornado warning is expected to expire at around 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So if you are in Rolling Fork, Agnolia, Cary, and areas really east, stay in your safe place. I'm still expecting a new tornado warning to get issued at some point toward or close to Yazoo City and ahead of that, because there's multiple kinks within this line here. Like you got this one, this one, this one, this one. So a new tornado warning is possible. And then we got our storm out here that's fixing to likely produce a tornado southeast of Brookhaven. And since it's nighttime, you're not going to be able to see the tornado, so don't try to get out there and look at it. Seek shelter now. We've been live for 2 hours and 25 minutes. And essentially we've been covering a larger tornado outbreak for today, now kind of shifting over to a QLCS and supercellular outbreak towards the central Louisiana and north central Mississippi. And matter of fact, I just noticed that the tornado watch has been extended a little bit north, closer to Starkville. And that is a particularly dangerous situation. Tornado watch, excuse me. New tornado warning has been issued for areas east of Simmersport, so that includes Retreat, Winoke, Wakefield, and St. Francisville in Louisiana. That's another radar indicated tornado warning right beside this. So now you can expect this entire line to be rotating as it continues to head east. I apologize. I had a moment of silent. So we currently have 5 tornado warnings. Yes, 5 tornado warnings in effect. 2 in Mississippi, 3 in Louisiana at this current time. Most of them are expected to expire within 8 to 40 minutes. We still have our PDS, particularly dangerous situation tornado warning, that's still in effect over Lake Misery. And that will continue for the next several hours, or next several minutes. So just a heads up out there. You still got a pretty good Boeing segment. Just straight line damaging winds is also expected out ahead of this. If you're out towards Lake Arthur, going all the way north into the areas of Cottonport, New Roads, Jackson, you're going to end up seeing straight line damaging winds and the threat for spin up tornadoes continuing. Speaking of, a special weather statement was just issued for Lake Arthur, or a severe thunderstorm warning was just issued for Lake Arthur. Honestly, I could see this continuing here in just a moment. There's a really good bow echo there. That's more of a bow echo than anything, but it's really popping out. There's our reflectivity showing up once again. So it could do it again. And it likely already is. It just got to give it a moment. So keeping a really close eye on this one southwest of Lake Arthur. We have 2 radar indicated tornado warnings that continues towards the areas of New Roads, Jackson, and Melville, Louisiana. We're about to lose the one in Melville. All eyes are looking towards this Brookhaven rotation as it continues to look very, very interesting. The tornado genesis is looking likely. And if you don't mind, whoever is tuned in, if you don't mind sharing the stream, that'll help us get this stream out to as many the people that we need to help out this evening. I apologize. We're really closely monitoring each and every one of these storms. I definitely feel a tornado is definitely about to happen near East Lincoln and close to Woolworth, Mississippi. So seek shelter if you haven't already. Brookhaven, parts of eastern Brookhaven is in the tornado warning, but the rest of that area is out of the tornado warning. So yes, our PDS tornado watch was expanded a little bit farther northeast to include just a few more counties closer to Tupelo. So now Greenwood, Grenada, Duck Hill, Winona, closer to Starkville and Greenville are now included in that PDS tornado watch. I will go ahead and turn it off for now. And we're fixing to we already have a dangerous tornado ongoing out here towards, out here really close to Lake Arthur. Let's see. You can see it clearly. Damaging wind threat continues down south, but your Boeing segment, your bow echo, whatever you want to call it here, is really becoming notable on radar. So just south of Lake Arthur, damaging wind threat and a potential tornado near Illinois plant and Lowry is expected here. This is a particularly dangerous tornado warning that does continue and is observed still. No CC drop just yet, but this is a observed tornado warning, and it's really, really trying to drop another one. If there's not one already on the ground. I wonder what we could see from here. Alright. This one's really about to do something. So, we are going to mention it. Alright, there we go. A severe thunderstorm warning was just issued. Post. There we go. We are likely about to see a tornado drop just west of East Lincoln into Woolworth. Vince needs to get out of the way. He's sitting there, but he needs to get out of the way. He's directly in the path of this thing. This is radar indicated right now, but it wouldn't surprise me within the next several minutes or within the next couple of minutes that something tries to drop here. I'm sure there's a wall cloud spinning like crazy off of this thing. Observed considerable PDS tornado warning continues for the area southwest of Lake Arthur, as a strong tornado is still likely ongoing. And there's our CC. You can see it right here. So yes, we do still have a tornado ongoing southwest of Lake Arthur, Louisiana. Couple of spin-ups is still possible near Yazoo City, so they did issue that severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado possible tag for Yazoo City and Greenwood, Mississippi. So just a heads up out for that. And we are going to focus on our storm out here near Jackson, Mississippi, and Brookhaven, Mississippi, as she continues to try. New tornado warning for another area of rotation for Woodville, Centerville, and Gloucester. You were under a tornado warning earlier, and now you're under one again until 6:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So if you're probably hearing maybe some sirens going off or your phone's going off, go ahead and be seeking shelter once again out ahead of this. Matter of fact, we are starting to get some activity looking towards new roads maybe some rotation trying to happen out with these smaller storms. So just a heads up on that as well. So near Baton Rouge, going north into Macomb, Mississippi, uh, supercellular rotation is likely going to start happening. But a new tornado warning was issued for the areas of Woodville, Centerville, Gloucester, and Liberty. Go ahead and be seeking shelter now. Move into an interior room of a sturdy building away from doors and windows. And just stay in your safe place until the warning is allowed to expire. Right now we're really focusing on our storm near Brookhaven, as this is about to produce something. I'm a little curious on what's going on at home here, so I'm fixing to take a quick look at my local area. Vince is in. I'm going to pull up Vince's feed, because he's generally in the path, so if something happens and something touches down, Vince will see it. Alright, so Fair Oaks, Springs, Fair River. Go ahead and if I'm sure you've been in your safe place now, but just get ready. This is about to move into your area here near Harmony. This is about to also push into your area. If you're on Highway 84, close to Vince, you probably see his vehicle. This being said, you need to find a sturdy and safe building. Get into a safe place, put as many walls as you can between you from the outside world, and stay there. Okie doke. Observed. We have a observed tornado warning now. Alright, so observed tornado warning for Woodworth, for East Lincoln, Mississippi, Fair River, Mississippi, Fair Oaks Spring, Mississippi, Woolworth, NOLA, Sontag. These areas are now under an observed tornado warning. This tornado is on the ground and is likely about to produce, is likely close enough to producing a actual violent tornado if it continues with the way it's doing. But we now have a tornado on the ground south of Woolworth, Mississippi. Let me go ahead and post that in the update. This warning continues until until 6:15 p.m. Whoops. All right, there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and read this out to you. Again, observed tornado is on the ground south of Fair River. If you're in Fair River, Fair Oak Springs, I hope you're in your safe place now, as a tornado is now likely on the ground and is heading straight for your area. A tornado warning remains in effect until 6:15 p.m. Central Daylight Time for South Central Simpson, northeastern Lincoln, northern Lawrence, and southeastern Chapia counties. At 5:49 p.m. Central Daylight Time, a confirmed tornado was located over East Lincoln, or 9 miles southeast of Brookhaven, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. As your damaging tornado source, this is radar confirmed tornado on the ground. Impact flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This tornado will be near Sontag and Winella around 5:55 p.m. CST, which is within the next 3 minutes. Oma around 6 p.m., Rockport around 6:10, and New Herman around 6:15 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And I repeat, a observed tornado warning has been issued. You need to seek shelter now if you have not already. 3 other tornado warnings continue along this QLCS line that's catching up here. For the entirety, most of them are radar indicated. And then our observed particularly dangerous situation tornado warning does continue. Nothing seems to be on the ground anymore. It looks to be more of a damaging wind threat at the moment, so we'll see. It looks like that warning's about to expire, so they're probably going to let that one go. So most of our focus is going to go towards Mississippi at this time. Maybe a spin-up tornado or two is still possible near Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and closer to New Orleans. But again, most of our focus is turning towards the QLCS threat out here in the parts of the Mississippi River, traveling into Mississippi in general. If you're just now tuning in, we are covering the larger tornado event today, the tornado outbreak that we've had going on all afternoon. A tornado is on the ground now just south of Woolworth and east of Brookhaven. This continues to travel north on 84. That would be Highway 84, producing a tornado. And it will continue likely throughout the rest of the evening. If you're not in your safe place now, you really need to be. This is a dangerous storm here. It's really hard to tell what's going on too, so I think that was a good call, though, to call out an observed tornado warning out here for the area of East Brookhaven, Woolworth, and going north. Excuse me. Going back up here towards our tornado warning near Lake Providence. That continues for another 5 minutes. They're probably going to let that one go, most likely. And severe thunderstorm warnings, new severe thunderstorm warnings are likely to be issued here in just a little bit. That may include areas of Jackson, Mississippi. Actually, a tornado warning is in effect for areas west of Jackson, Mississippi. That includes Edwards, Raymond, and Otissia. So again, a tornado warning is in effect for these areas and is in effect for another 49 minutes. It will not expire until 6:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So if you're out in these areas, go ahead and be seeking shelter. Again, put as many walls as you can between you from the outside world. Bring you a bicycle helmet. Bring your phone with you. Bring your phone with you so you can stay weather aware. And that severe thunderstorm warning did get issued for Jackson as well. We might be able to see lightning coming off of this line from the Jackson camera. Since the storms are really, we'll see. So tornado threat still continues. Tornado outbreak still ongoing. And like I said, that Louisiana tornado warning was allowed to expire with a tornado possible tag on it now. These two warnings continue. This one has 18 more minutes on it. This one has 33 more minutes on it as they travel across the southern Mississippi River. We still have a observed tornado warning ongoing for the area of South Woolworth. Fair River was likely impacted. NOLA is going to be next. Just keeping a really close eye on this storm here. This is a supercell by itself. It's really becoming a supercell by itself. This is a dangerous situation. If this storm can really start to attach to the atmosphere, we're going to have us a dangerous situation here. So it depends on how fast this QSCLS line can catch up to it. Right now, it does seem both are moving relatively slow. Huh. That's cool. So there's something when you go into learning how to read radar, when you get showers out in front of a storm, you get this spike here. And that is because this storm is taller than this, and sometimes the beam only reads this storm, and it even makes the storm seem closer. So that's why we're getting a spike in the radar, which is pretty interesting. I thought that was pretty neat to look at, because that is something you actually go through training for when you go through your radar basics. So that's just a little interesting weather TED with me, I guess. Alright, so 1 minute on our tornado warning for Rolling Fork. That's going to be allowed to expire. Tornado warning continues west of Jackson County. Or I'm at Jackson, Mississippi, where tight rotation is currently ongoing. Or a spin-up tornado rotation is ongoing. Nothing on the ground yet, but that is definitely something to watch. There goes that tornado warning. So we're down to 4 tornado warnings all across Mississippi now. Most of them are within the Jackson, Mississippi NWS office range. Let's see. Bear with me here, folks. If you're just now tuning in, we're covering the live severe weather outbreak and tornado outbreak that is ongoing here across Jackson, Mississippi, and southern Jackson, Mississippi here. We got multiple tornado warnings, 4 of them, all of them are, well, at least 3 of them on the linear side is radar indicated. And then we have 1 observed tornado warning out here towards the areas of Trias and Sontag, Oma, Cohenville, and Rockport. So if you're in those areas, you need to be staying in your shelter. This tornado is still possibly ongoing here. And so that is why we still have an observed tornado warning. And tight couplet still ongoing here. Very messy, but still there. And that's very concerning. This one's heading kind of east of Jackson. Of course, we got a tornado warning heading for Jackson. I wonder if it tells us the population that's in this. No, it doesn't. But we could do this. This one should actually work with the, because it's cellular. So if I can get it to work, I think these storms are moving somewhere around 45 miles per hour. So total population out ahead of this is nearly up to 362,100. And 3,100, or 362,131,000 people out ahead of this. Yeah, debris have lifted for now on this southern tornado warning, but I definitely do believe. All right, now we got a second observed tornado warning, now in effect for the areas of Gloucester and Centerville. So if you're around Gloucester, Liberty, and Centerville, a new observed tornado warning has been issued. You need to be in your safe place if you haven't been already. I hope you have been, because this tornado warning has been issued for a good minute now. But a tornado has been reported on the ground, likely by radar, because you're not going to be able to see this. Yep, this is radar confirmed. Not seeing the CC exactly, the correlation coefficient drop, but there is an observed tornado warning now for areas of Gloucester, Centerville, and Liberty. We zoom in here, Haram, out towards Mount Pleasant, again Centerville, Tatum, Gloucester, Whitecap, out towards the Be Welcome, Oxford, Busy Corner, Comprise, Enterprise, Liberty, Beechwood, Berwick, Errol, Ollie, or Allo, and Capel are all in this observed tornado warning. Y'all all need to be in your safe place now, away from doors and windows, into an interior sturdy room on the lowest lowest floor of your house. And there's still a violent rotation with this though. Although, due to it being where it's at, the radar is really struggling. There's still an observed tornado on the ground, I think. CC drop still shows one on the ground. We could see. It's potentially still on the ground, y'all. We have two observed tornadoes, tornado warnings. Again, one near the Woolworth area, now going north towards Suntag, Winella, Omagh, Trias, and Collinville. And this may not be on the ground anymore, just mainly because of we're not seeing a lot of CC, and this has impacted a lot of towns. Of course, it has been going in between as well. And yeah, it's not on the ground anymore, it's radar indicated, but there's a little... Something tells me... I don't know. I'm watching this area right here. This could be a little area of inflow, though, so just a heads up. If you're in Omagh, Colwynville, and areas northeast of this, you need to be staying in your safe place, even... because this is likely still on the ground. Of course, you are under a tornado warning as well. I think there was a new mesoscale discussion concerning the tornado watch for central and northern Mississippi. So I'm waiting on that to come in here soon. Still have our observed tornado warning near the areas of Liberty, Gloucester, and Centerville. And going back over close to Jackson, we're probably about to have a tornado on the ground here as well. It's a decent area of velocity, and I know I've said this a lot, but this is just with how our day has gone here. It wouldn't surprise me if we see something hit the ground here soon. But we're going to continue to monitor it. Still radar indicated here. Tornado warning is likely to be issued for Georgetown and going north. And for the ones just now tuning in, I know I've said this multiple times, for the ones that's been here long enough, But for everybody that's just now tuning in, we're covering the QLCS threat, or the threat that's now turning into a QLCS threat as it enters into Mississippi. It is 6:07 p.m. Central Daylight Time across Mississippi and Alabama. I'd say sometime here soon, once the things start slowing down a little bit, I will have to head out because this threat is easing closer and closer to my coverage area. And I want to make sure that I give everybody a quick update on everything for today. Although I hate to end the live, but that's what we're gonna do here in a little while. I don't want to. Okay, so Mr. Ian Malicoute actually sent me potential footage of a tornado on the ground in Rolling Fork, on the north side of Rolling Fork, unfortunately. So we likely potentially had a tornado on the ground around Rolling Fork. And what just happened on Facebook? Let's see. Velocity is really... I don't understand what's going on with this. Looking at our OBS, observed. Yeehaw, here we go. Low-level jet's actually cranking near central Mississippi. You can see it now. The clouds are like booking it. Makes me curious if we're seeing the same thing out here in central and northern Alabama. Because the line is approaching now. Winds are fixing to be really gusty out ahead of it. I'm sure you're getting wind gusts. Let's see. Yeah, we're getting wind gusts up to 14 and 24 miles per hour out ahead of it, which is not a shocker because of... did this go observed? Or is it just me? I think it went observed. I don't know. A tornado warning is likely going to be reissued for Georgetown, and out ahead of that, there's still rotation with the supercell, and it's concerning. So we're going to be watching very closely. What you mean? What do you mean by whose stream do I have up, Ian Malicoute? Or is there audio playing that I don't know of? Oh, I see. Okay, so I have, that would be Connor Croft's stream that's pulled up. I'm not paying attention. You have Connor Croft's stream was pulled up to the left-hand side here, or right-hand side. Yeah, that's Connor Croft. And I see that Connor Croft is potentially somewhere around North Mississippi. Or not, no. Never mind, disregard. No. Yep, alright, so there's our new tornado warning. Whoops. Stop. Alright, our new tornado warning now, just east of Georgetown, includes the Mendenhall area. So a new tornado warning is in effect for 1 hour and 4 minutes. So that being said, until 7:15 p.m. Central Daylight Time. This storm is moving very slow, by the way. 45 miles per hour, 30 to 45. It's very slow moving. So we did just get a new tornado warning issued, and another one somewhere. I don't know where that was issued. Anyway, So, like I said, a new tornado warning is issued until 7:15 p.m. Central Daylight Time for South Central Rankin County and Central Mississippi, Simpson County and Central Mississippi, Northeastern Lawrence County and South Central Mississippi, and Southeastern Shapa County and Central Mississippi until again 7:15 p.m. CDT or Central Daylight Time. At 6:11 p.m. CST, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Omaha, or 9 miles north of the Monticello, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. And the hazard is tornado source radar indicated rotation. You need to go ahead and be seeking shelter if you're located near the Mendenhall area and anywhere south of that and north of that. Seek shelter, put as many walls as you can between you, bring a bicycle helmet, bring us with you. We'll keep you weather aware and prepared, and just try to keep yourself away from the storm here. That's been observed. We have an observed tornado warning that still is going on for Gloucester, Centerville, and Liberty for the next 17 minutes. That's where the tornado warning was for. So a new tornado warning has been issued for Guyana and Cape Plan, Louisiana. A new tornado warning has been issued for Yazoo City, Sedona, and Satarita, Mississippi. This tornado warning is also issued for until 7:15 p.m. CDT. And this line is going to continue to produce quick spin-up tornadoes that's going to be issued under tornado warnings a lot throughout the rest of this evening. That's what we're going to be seeing much of the rest of tonight. Of course, we are going to be dealing with this supercell out here. We're having a cell merger right now as going into this. It's probably going to kill off the rotation for a little bit, but also enhancing it in the future here. And just going back to this Lafayette, or the Guyana and Caplan, Louisiana tornado warning that was just issued. This one's until 6:45 p.m. CST or Central Daylight Time for a tornado warning. This tornado warning, for a possible tornado. This tornado warning is in effect for South Central Acada, Paris, in southwestern Louisiana, northwestern Vermilion, Paris, and southwestern Louisiana. And again, that would be until 6:45 p.m. CST. So heads up out there as well. Tornado threat is only continuing. The same thing with your gusty wind threat. Actually, most of these are 60 mile per hour, except when you get to South Louisiana. That one is for up to 70 miles per hour. But this, like I said earlier, this is a QLCS line now. That does continue. So it does continue into western Mississippi and getting closer into central Mississippi. Since we are now turning into a nocturnal event, please have multiple ways to get warnings today. Have multiple ways to get warnings. Have your phones turned up. Have weather radios ready to go off just in case a warning is issued for your area. And of course, we will be here to keep you covered for the ongoing event. So a tornado warning continues for Mendenhall, excuse me. You can see the velocity couplet here. Very messy. Again, we're having a cell merger at this time. So if this storm can really try to get its act together, we could see a potential tornado here in a little while near Mendenhall and out towards New Hebron, and McGee. I'm going to butcher everybody's town names because, unfortunately, it is very hard to pronounce southern names, or southern town names. A observed tornado warning still continues across the area of Gloucester, Centerville, and Liberty. We may probably see an extension to this tornado warning if things continue to look interesting, as there's just a bunch of areas of rotation that continue within this. Doesn't look like we have a CC anymore within this storm. But you're back in a tornado warning Same thing for areas west of Hazelhurst, and this is due to the QLCS threat that's beginning to move through. So a couple spin-up tornadoes is still ongoing. So if you're on 98, Highway 98 near Bud, and going north on 547, County Road 547, and west of Hazelhurst, you are now under a tornado warning as well for 43 minutes. So until 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time, things are getting busy. Now we got multiple tornado warnings. That low-level jet is helping the system out here produce these tornado warnings. I advise you, if you're in Jackson, Mississippi, to go ahead and just hunker down, because this is likely going to continue throughout the rest of the evening. So if you're watching from Jackson, Mississippi, or Canton, Mississippi, Yazoo City, Mississippi, you need to be seeking shelter. Now bear with me, and I will be right back for a quick second. I apologize about that. I had to take a quick phone call, and I don't usually like to do that, but it was an important family relative, so tornado warnings still being issued all across western Mississippi. Let's see, I'm curious. A bunch of rain is spread across Alabama and eastern Mississippi. So this may help the severe weather threat the more farther east we go. This may help it be more stabilized across the atmosphere, which will keep the severe weather threat on the low end as we head east into northern Alabama, northern Mississippi. But still, a squall line is still entering in this area. But the amount of energy out ahead of this is not a lot. So most of the severe weather threat is going to stay towards south central Mississippi and potentially southwestern Alabama throughout the rest of this evening. Louisiana, you're pretty much clearing out for the evening. A couple leftover rain showers is out and about. Lafayette, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, you still got a bit of storms to get through before it's said and over with. And then, of course, Jackson, Mississippi, you're dealing with a lot of storms out here. Meriden, Mississippi, and Tupelo, Mississippi could see that QLCS threat continue, but I'm more concerned for Meridian, Mississippi than anything for the continuation of that threat. Now we focus on our tornado warnings once again. I just wanted to get that through. A tornado is likely just about to be on the ground, if not already, near Edwards, Mississippi. I apologize there, having a brain fart. So Edwards, Mississippi, if you're out there, you need to be staying in that safe place. Do not get out of your safe place just yet. All of our warnings is radar indicated. No tornado is on the ground as of now. And most of them are lasting until 7 to 7:15 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Yazoo City, Santa Teria, Benetonia, Edwards, Raymond, going towards Hazelhurst, Bud, Gloucester, Liberty, Centerville, and then out here towards the east of Lake Arthur, including the Gap Line area, or K Plan, and then including our areas towards Mendenhall. You all need to be in your safe place if you're not already. If you got any questions for me, feel free to ask. If you got any recommendation or things you want to ask or whatever, just feel free. We may either see a severe thunderstorm warning or a severe thunderstorm watch get extended out here, or potentially a tornado watch continued out into the eastern Mississippi and western central Alabama area later this evening. But right now, the storms are a bit far out at the moment. So we still have a high tornado risk for central Mississippi right this second, central southern Mississippi. We're really keeping an eye on this system. And we did have a new mesoscale discussion issued where a severe threat is increasing from where our threat is at now and going into parts of northeastern Mississippi. So that is something we're watching. And then, of course, tornado and wind threat continues for the areas of Lafayette, Baton Rouge, and Homia, Louisiana, and to Mississippi. So that's two areas that we are continuing to watch as of the 6:23 p.m. time frame. And I'm going to quickly add these over real quick. I'll go ahead and say this now. If you are, again, east, if you're out towards like Monroe or maybe Alexandria, if you're out towards Alexandria, Lake Charles, whatnot, I would say you're in the clear. You're still in a tornado watch, but right now you're pretty much in the clear. Most of the storms are moving to the east of you, but out ahead of it, we still got a busy evening out ahead. Macomb is now under Macomb, Mississippi, Liberty, Magnolia, and Kentwood. You are now under a new tornado warning for another 51 minutes. This includes northeastern St. Helena Parish in southeastern Louisiana, northeastern East Paris, Felicina Parish in southeastern Louisiana, northwestern Tagafoa Parish in southeastern Louisiana, northwestern Washington Parish in southeastern Louisiana, and of course Pike County in southern Mississippi, and southern Mite County in southern Mississippi until 7:15 p.m. CST or Central Daylight Time. This is for radar indicated rotation ahead of our QLCS line. I apologize for the silence here. I'm just typing out a general forecast. Okay. So again, multiple tornado warnings is in effect, and I do apologize. I don't generally, especially when it comes to tornado coverage, I don't like to be silent. Multiple tornado warnings is currently in effect across south central Louisiana or Mississippi. We do have one tornado warning in Louisiana, just southwest of Lafayette. We'll start with this one. Looks like most of the rotation is slowing down just a bit here, although a new tornado warning could be issued a little bit farther south, potentially, if rotation starts up down here, which wouldn't surprise me. And then we're heading into New Roads, Jackson, and then into Macomb, Mississippi here, where a tornado warning is in effect until 7:15 and 7:30. Another tornado warning near Brookhaven, Mississippi, is still in effect for the next 33 minutes. Our supercell out over here near Maggie and Mendenhall still continues. Hasn't really produced much just yet, other than that one observed tornado warning earlier. Tornado warnings continue near Jackson, Mississippi. This would be northwest of Jackson, Mississippi, where a tornado could overall be possible out here ahead of the line. So we'll have to watch this little area here. And towards Yazoo City, Betonia, and Satarita, I believe. Another little area of rotation was there. But I'm really wanting to focus here where that rotation's really picking up. And intense lightning has been reported near Vicksburg, Mississippi. No problem, David. Welcome in. Alright. So, unfortunately, while there is a lot of severe weather out and going towards central Mississippi, I'm going to have to head on out to prepare for the severe weather out here across Alabama. Ryan Hall, y'all, Max Velocity, and many storm chasers are going to be out there. So please do not take this as me saying that there is not going to be a severe weather threat anymore. As you can see, the radar is full of tornado warnings. I just need to switch over to being live or getting ready for severe weather across the Alabama area. While it's not as significantly possible as it is in central Mississippi, I still need to prepare and keep my people here at home weather aware. So y'all have a wonderful evening. Please stay weather aware. Have multiple ways of getting warnings. A new tornado watch is probably going to be possible, if not a severe thunderstorm watch for Philadelphia, Starkville, Medellínville, Hattiesburg, and those areas out ahead of this line, maybe into Tuscaloosa, Fayette, and DeBallis, or however you say the Alabama town name there, later this evening. Multiple tornado warnings are still in effect. If you are in the tornado warning, heed the warning. Stay in your shelter. Stay away from windows and doors. Stay into the lowest floor of a sturdy building away from the outdoors, and just stay there until that warning is expired. Y'all have a wonderful evening, and if things are slow, I will be back live. But all in all, that's it for me tonight. Y'all have a great one.